Folks, I just wanted to go over this Rivet Nut tool again. So when you're working with these small rib nuts, you have to be careful that you don't strip the threads when you're using the tool. So you really want to make sure that you screw it on. And on this one, there's actually a little gauge here that tells you when it's down to 0 millimeters. So you want to screw this on all the way. You want to screw this on as tight as you can get it. Or not as tight, just snug it to the end so it fits there. Arms are wide open on it. You see the gauge is there. And when you go to squish this, watch this gauge. You want to get it down to as close to 0 as possible without pulling and stripping the threads on the bit itself, on the adapter. Now, I've gone through and the first one I had stripped it really bad. So some of these rib nuts just would not seat in there. They wouldn't squish together because they would just keep on slipping right off. So when you're doing this, just keep an eye on how tight, how close. If yours doesn't have a gauge, just make sure you keep an eye on how close you are. And if this has if it's wiggling or anything where in the metal where you're seating it. Because it is quite a pain to try to get back out. I end up having to drill out 2 of these. So, I mean, the option is there to drill them out, but then it widens the hole that you're trying to get into, creates a mess, and best thing is to be safe in the beginning. These are not the best, but I guess if you're really coming onto this and squeezing it, I guess you could strip almost anything. But it seems that this actually strips before these nuts that I purchased. So it tells me the rivet nuts are pretty good, and the tool itself is cheap. So just a heads up, snug it on there with the arms wide open on the tool, and then when you go to squish it, just watch how close you're squishing it. One of the things that I did find the first couple times, I didn't feel like it was like that was set enough in the metal, so I squeezed it together, and then I snugged this up again into it, and then I squeezed again, but I just come onto it too much, which caused it to strip. So just one of the key points when you're using this, especially on the small, you probably, with the larger diameter, the larger bit tools, probably wouldn't happen as much. The larger rib nuts probably wouldn't happen as much, but these small ones with the fine thread, it happens pretty easy. And then I've been trying to be more careful as how much pressure I put on this, and it doesn't really have to be singing tight. It just has to seat itself, and the rib nut squishes in place. That's kind of a tip when using this rib nut, and this was just one of the ones off of Amazon, no name, kind of RZX. The bits, or these inserts, they actually fit multiple tools, because this wasn't actually for this one, it was for another brand, but they all seem to have the same thread inside of here. So, something to watch for. Alright, so what we want to do with this, you have the rib nuts, or jack nuts, or rivet nuts, whatever you want to call them. You take that, this is the machine here, RZX. Once I unscrew this, make sure you have the right thread on there, the right piece, and that's going to depend on what size rib nut. So I'm going with these hexagon shaped rib nuts, 3/8 inch, screwed all the way on with the arms opened. Now, pop it in the hole, and then squeeze it. Okay, in that much. Screw it in a little more. Squeeze it again. You want to make sure that you get it in there nice and tight. And that's that. Unscrew this. Unscrew this. And then you have, zoom in there, then you have a something to bolt into, screw into, without having to drill any holes. Now on this van you can see that there's the hex. There's also round, but I decided to go with the hex because this is where I want to put everything. So let's try that again. So let's put the end one in, and again, I'm going to do the same thing. And when you watch, this portion here is you want facing out.
Right.
So you screw that on first. Edit that out. Okay, so we're going to put this in. No. Squish it. Bring this out. Screw it in a little more. Squish again. A little more. And I think that's probably, there we go. That's as far as it goes. Okay, again, I'll pop that in there. Put that in there. Now they're all the same, it's just a little squish. Screw it in a little bit. Squish again. And that should be it. Yeah, everything's nice and you really only need to squish it a couple times. You'll see that's in there nice and tight, not going anywhere. So this is going in. Squish. Open it up a bit. Tighten a little more. Squish again. I think one more. A little bit. And that should do. Okay. One more on this side.
Probably here. Because that's where a weight will go, right?
Yeah.
So.
Again, we'll pop this, screw this in place. And we'll do two right here.
Yeah.
I think this is where we're good. One. It's a little deep. Two, and I think that's going to be it.
Still seems a little wobbly.
That's a little wobbly there, so I'll go one more.
That's better.
There we go. Three.
Yeah. So
Three is the magic number. Okay.
Oh.
Ooh, tight one. Good for the arm workout. One more. These are kind of snug. Screw it back out.
Well, you're putting 5 in here, so.
That's good.
You're getting the hang of it now.
Yeah, a couple of them in. One more. There we go. This one?
Yep.
And then one more on the end.
Yeah.
And that is how quick and easy it is to put in the rib nuts. I'll end up doing some on this top as well. I'll have to do the round ones. That's it. 10 of those in, and I'll be able to bolt right into there. And that shouldn't move anywhere.